Let's talk about snap judgments. Ever written something off too quickly, only to realize later, okay, I was way off? We all have stories like that. A food you were convinced would be disgusting, then one bite turned into a weekly craving. A TV show you rolled your eyes at until you found yourself watching 4 episodes in one night. A book you put down after 2 pages, then picked back up and couldn't stop highlighting. Or that person who bothered you on day 1, and now they're one of the most important people in your life. It happens more often than we'd like to admit. We size things up too quickly. We make decisions from a distance. And sometimes, without realizing it, we close ourselves off to something meaningful. Why? Because it's easier to judge something we don't know than to be open to what we might not understand yet. It's easier to fill in the blanks than to ask better questions. It's easier to stay comfortable with our first impression than to admit we might have been wrong. But then, every once in a while, something surprises us. Something we thought was irrelevant or uninteresting ends up being powerful. Something we assumed wasn't for us turns out to be exactly what we needed. And in those moments, we almost always say the same thing. You've got to try this. You've got to meet her. You've got to see it for yourself. Because some things just can't be explained. They have to be experienced. But when it comes to faith, we don't always stay curious. In fact, for a lot of us, faith is one of the few things we don't give a second look, make a snap judgment, and then hold on to it. We assume it's too complicated. It's too rigid. It's only for people who have it all together. It's for people who are nothing like us. And honestly, sometimes those assumptions come from real experiences. Maybe you are around religion that felt more like behavior management than a relationship with God. Maybe someone used faith to control or shame or exclude people. Maybe you were told not to ask questions or criticized for asking them. Maybe someone said the right things but lived the opposite. And over time, we quietly decided things like, this isn't for me. I don't fit here. I already know how this ends. So we moved on. Not angry, just guarded. Maybe even a little cynical. Maybe a big prayer went unanswered. Maybe life's thrown more disappointment at you than you know what to do with. You're not mad at God. You're just tired. Tired of hoping for something that never seems to change. Tired of wondering if faith actually works for people like you. But here's what's interesting. We don't treat everything else that way. We'll give restaurants, shows, hobbies, and even people second chances. We try new things all the time, even when we're unsure. We figure it out as we go. We stay open. So why not give faith the same curiosity, patience, or grace we offer everything else? Why not ask real questions and stay long enough to see what's actually there? Because if we're honest, there's a chance we've missed something good. So whether you're here because someone invited you, life got difficult, or you're just wondering if there's more, this is a place where curiosity is welcome. No pressure or pretending. Just people asking questions and trying to figure out what's real. Because faith has so much to offer us, and so much for us to offer other people. And this is why. Before Jesus became famous, before the miracles and the crowds, a few people were beginning to follow him, but most had no idea who he was yet. That's where we pick up in Scripture today. One of these early followers, Philip, got so excited about meeting Jesus that he ran to tell his friend Nathanael. And here's what he said. "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." Philip was referring to Moses' writings in the Old Testament about the Messiah. Basically, Philip was saying, this is the one we've been waiting for. I really think he's the one. But Nathanael? He wasn't impressed. He heard Philip's excitement and immediately shut it down. Nazareth? Can anything good come from there? Nathanael had already made a snap judgment about Nazareth, its people, and the possibility that anything meaningful could come from it. We've all heard comments like this. Some of us have said them, and honestly, it's understandable. Because when something feels unfamiliar, or maybe even uncomfortable, it's easier to write it off than to lean in. But here's what I love. Philip didn't get defensive. He didn't argue or try to convince Nathanael with facts or spiritual credentials. He just said, "Come and see." That's it. No pressure, no over-explaining or debate, just an open door. And sometimes that's all it takes. One simple invitation that says, "I don't have all the answers, but I think you should check this out for yourself." That's it, just the invite. And here's the best part. Nathanael actually did it. He went and checked it out. He showed up, and that's when it got personal. When Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said of him, "Here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." "How do you know me?" Nathanael asked. Jesus answered, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you." Translation, I saw you before you ever saw me. Sometimes we assume that if God really saw us, our mistakes, our doubts, our past, we'd be disqualified. But the truth is, wherever you're coming from today, He sees you fully and still chooses love. That one moment flipped everything for Nathanael. He realized, this man doesn't just see the world, he sees me. And I want to pause right there, because maybe you need to hear that too. Whatever's going on in your life right now, whatever you're carrying or questioning, God knows you. He loves you. And yes, He even likes you. You are noticed, you are known, and He has compassion for you. This is what happened next. Then Nathanael declared, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." This was an awesome statement, but Jesus wasn't done. Jesus said, "You believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You will see greater things than that." We'll come back to the statement in just a minute. But I want you to pause and make sure you get the truth of what happened in this moment. Everything changes when you see it for yourself. When we see it for ourselves, that's when we create our "this is why" moment. It was true for Nathanael then, and it's true for you now. If you're not sure what you believe, that's completely okay. You don't need to have it all figured out to start asking questions. Some of you have been around church your whole life, but you felt nervous to doubt or speak up. Like asking questions might mean you don't have faith, but it's actually the opposite. Honest questions are how faith becomes real. It's how you move from borrowed beliefs to a stronger personal foundation. So don't be afraid to voice your doubts or name your skepticism. You don't have to be all in to check it out. In fact, this is the perfect place to do just that. Because this isn't about having the answers, it's about starting the experience. It's about showing up and seeing for yourself. That's exactly what happened with Nathanael. One moment of being seen, one decision to lean in, and it changed everything. And it didn't stop there. Jesus said that people like Nathanael, people who came to see for themselves, would go on to see greater things. And they did. Because the people who did follow Jesus, who said yes to come and see, they saw some things, big things, life-changing things. They saw the blind receive sight, the outcast invited in, storms calmed with a word, 5,000 people fed with one kid's meal, a dead man walk out of a grave, a woman caught in sin forgiven and restored, a child healed from miles away, the religious humbled, the forgotten remembered, broken people made whole, sinners called friends, and hope come back to life. That's what they saw. All because someone invited them to come and see Jesus. That's what they saw. All because they showed up. Isn't that incredible? Everything really does change when you see it for yourself. Let's go back to that moment between Philip and Nathanael. Philip had experienced something real. He believed he had found the Messiah. And when he told Nathanael, Nathanael didn't exactly jump on board. He was skeptical, dismissive even. Can anything good come from Nazareth? And how did Philip respond? He didn't argue, pressure, or preach. He just said, "Come and see." That one invitation changes everything. So in light of that, here are 2 things to walk away with. Number 1, if you're curious, skeptical, or unsure, keep showing up. You don't need perfect faith to take a first step. You don't have to be certain to be welcome here. Like Nathanael, you might have doubts, questions, or hesitations, but you're still invited to come and see. That might look like giving prayer another shot, opening scripture without pressure to make it all make sense, or showing up at church even when you're unsure why. You belong here, not because you have it all figured out, but because you're willing to be open. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to perform. And if you've been hurt by church people, we see you. There's a difference between Jesus and the people who follow him. Jesus is perfect. People aren't. So if your experience has been frustrating or painful, I'm sorry. But that doesn't have to be the end of the story. And number 2, if you've experienced Jesus for yourself, be a Philip. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to be a theologian. You just need to care enough to say, come and see. That might look like inviting a friend to dinner or praying quietly for someone who's struggling. Maybe asking a spiritual question and listening, not fixing. Maybe it's sharing your own journey, even the messy parts. You never know what's on the other side of one small invite, one honest moment or act of courage. That's what Philip did, and that's what someone in your life may be waiting for you to do. This is why we share what we've seen. This is why we open the door for someone else to explore. Because everything changes when you see it for yourself. What we're talking about here, it has a name. It's called evangelism. That word comes from the Greek word euangelion, which means good news. And right in the middle of that word is angel, literally a messenger. Evangelism isn't about pressure. It's not about performance. It's not about having the perfect argument or the most polished explanation. It's about being a messenger of good news. It's about sharing what you've seen and experienced. You don't have to convince anyone or explain everything, but you can be someone who shows up, invites, and makes space for others to encounter Jesus. This is why we show up, because the way Jesus has met you might be the very way he wants to meet someone else. And the invitation, it starts with you. Just like Philip said to Nathanael, come and see.